Our first question is from a listener named Beth, and she asks, do you have any insight on what to do when I constantly feel fatigued?
Beth, thank you for that question. I think when you constantly feel fatigued, actually, we were just talking about this the other night because at my place, the AC unit just completely is out. And I very much, I like to protect my sleep. I like to sleep in a colder environment because it helps you fall asleep faster. And I haven't had that. So my sleeping routine has not been what it was
Mm-hmm.
before. And that becomes a struggle because to perform well, you need a routine. But once you have the routine, a lot of obstacles come up that make it hard for you to keep that routine. So the past week, I've just been trouble getting really good quality sleep and feeling fatigued. And I remember waking up and Brandy and I starting to work, and I'm just going, oh, I don't think I got enough sleep last night. And she brought me to one of my favorite authors, Brene Brown, of one of her quotes of, if you wake up, and I wrote about this too in the book of Hope Not Nope, and just kind of forgot this little piece that's a big piece, that when we wake up and we say, I didn't get enough sleep. Well, now our brain believes that we didn't get enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't eat enough food for breakfast. Well, now I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough time in the day. I don't have this. I don't have enough. How long is it before your brain and your body starts to believe that you are not enough?
Mm-hmm.
And when it starts believing that you are not enough, it's going to want to shut down the system because you start losing a little bit of your purpose. So that's one thing, is what is the voice in our brain, in our heads, telling us? What is the story? What's the narrative that it's giving us? Because we're always moving towards our strongest thought. A lot of us may not know what our strongest thought is. So sit down when you wake up. What is that thought that comes up? So for me, I've had to change my perspective of when I wake up in the morning, even if I didn't get as high quality sleep as I would have liked to, I'm like, oh, I still got really good sleep last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was still really good. It wasn't the best, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm good. I can take on the morning now. I can get a good breakfast in. I can do these things to help. The other thing is learning with fatigue that our body really works with a rhythm. And we're relating this back to music in the intro because it's
Yeah.
it's a cool way to do it. But our body has circadian rhythms. It has wake cycles, it has sleep cycles. One of the worst things that we can do, and I am guilty of this, is hitting that snooze button when you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a range of anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes of sleep wake cycles. The general alarm is set for 9 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
when you hit that alarm, your brain starts saying, oh, I can go back to sleep. And you go back to sleep and you get into deep sleep pretty quick. And that, like in that 9 minutes, you'll probably have some pretty weird dreams and you'll remember them because of how quick your brain goes, ooh, going back into this. And then you interrupt it again. Now your brain is going from deep sleep, or your body's going from deep sleep to waking. So if you're fatigued, look at the morning and say, how do I set myself up for success?
Mm-hmm.
Don't hit the snooze button. Find a wake time that you can wake up consistently and then stick to that awake time. Back a while ago, I had the privilege of interviewing Dr. Michael Bruce, who is known as a sleep doctor. He has dedicated his life's work to researching sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very knowledgeable. He's been on the Dr. Oz show when the Dr. Oz show was around multiple times. Like really, really great guy, really great researcher. And the number one thing that he taught me, he goes, I don't care what time you go to bed. I don't care how long you sleep. I care that you wake up at the same time every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And we were out late Saturday night and Friday night, so it's hard to get up at that routine time.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick is that you wake up at that time. So for me, 7:15, that's when I'm getting up. If I get up before then, let's try to get up, not hit the snooze button. Again, I am guilty of the snooze button sometimes, but I
Yeah.
try to be as routined as I can of that 7:15 time. Later in the day, it is not just okay, it's an advantage to take that 15 to 20-minute meditation or power nap. That is going to that is going to give you so much energy. It's going to keep your sleep wake cycles. It's going to keep your circadian rhythm throughout the day. You go, oh, I don't have enough time. Most people have an hour lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Warm up your food, eat your food, go to a quiet place if you can find one, or out to your car and just doze off 10, 15, 20 minutes, let it recharge you. Now take on that second part of your day. So your circadian rhythms, don't hit the snooze button. And then I think the other thing that I'll dive into, there's a lot more that goes into fatigue,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I think what we'll wrap it up with this one is a lot of people procrastinate or they feel fatigued because they don't feel purposeful in what they're doing. And I'll share a quick story that's also in the book of the three stone cutters. So there's this one stone cutter. They're just chopping away at stone. Community member comes up to him and they go, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm chopping the stone, making a paycheck." Goes up to the second stone cutter. "What are you doing?" The stone cutter goes, "Well, I'm chopping this block because it helps me provide for my family, and providing for the family makes me feel purposeful." Goes up to the third person that's cutting the stone. "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm cutting this stone because this stone is going to be built into a cathedral. And this cathedral is going to serve this community for generations to come. I am bringing hope to this community." All three of them are doing the same job. Which one of them do you think has the most fatigue?
Mm,
The first person,
yeah.
because they're not tying into their purpose of what they're doing. So we have to look at, no matter what the task is, like no matter what you're doing, I love what we do. I love my job. There is mundane tasks
Mhm.
that are involved with this. But what makes us feel excited is that the mundane tasks will make the moment. But you
Mhm.
have to be willing to enter into those mundane things over and over again because you know that it's purposeful. You know the vision. So if you're fatigued, start looking at the tasks that you're doing. How do you make them more purposeful? How do you tie your brain more into what you're doing so that your soul's feeling fulfilled, which then your body will start to feel alive with it at the same time?
Mhm. Oh, I love that. So perspective and your goals and your vision is
Mm-hmm.
one, and getting great sleep is another. And you mentioned also at the beginning is what is your internal dialogue? And I know for me, when I'm feeling fatigue, one of the things I always go back to is, did I sleep? What am I internally saying? But I also go back to like, what have I eaten in the
Mm,
past couple days?
yeah.
Because if I am feeling drained or fatigued, sometimes it does have to do with I'm just in a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
And for a while in my eating disorder, I was constantly fatigued. But then getting out of that, I didn't want to look at food. I wanted to be free from it. And so I would eat. But then getting into fitness, I realized, oh, I need a lot more calories and a lot more nutrition because I work out in a different way.
Right.
And so there's been learning curves in different seasons of my life of what to eat, when to eat it. Well, not even when to eat it, but like what to eat. And if there's waves throughout the day of fatigue, maybe I haven't done that or I haven't drank enough water. That's another huge thing. And the other thing, and I feel like this is similar to perspective and knowing your vision, but I also look at, am I getting like me time, personal recharge time? But also not too much of it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think there's times where, whether it's 20 minutes a day, an hour a day, where you're meditating, praying, journaling, whatever it may be, like that's going to serve you well. But then I know people who maybe they're out of a job for a certain reason, or maybe they're a student and they're on summer break, and then they're just 6 7 hours a day just being by themselves, maybe doing things that they like, but then it's like also not helpful to them because they're laying in bed watching TV, or even if they're writing laying in bed, like that's not going
Mm-hmm.
to help the fatigue feeling. And so
Yeah.
there are different levels in that as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because with our adult clients, that's what we see, I think, the most is the calorie deficit.
Mm,
They're not eating enough. They perceive that they are, but generally the routine is that they get up in the morning, they have a cup of coffee, they maybe have like a little bit of a snack, but most adults even skip breakfast.
mm,
And really like that first meal of the day sets you up for success. It needs to be a high protein diet that you're going to be able to use that energy throughout the rest of the day versus a high glucose diet where you get up, you have the coffee, you have a donut or like a croissant that you're dipping it into it. Like, yes, like delicious,
love that.
so good, but you're going to lead to a crash because you're having this big sugar rush and then dropping down. So having a higher protein diet in the beginning of the day is actually incredibly beneficial to limit fatigue. One of our friends, Marcus Philly, that's what he's been doing. He's
Hmm.
been switching, dinner to his breakfast and getting really high protein in the morning so that it lasts him throughout the day. But most adults are having coffee, having a sugar snack, and then around 10, 11 o'clock, having another coffee, and then maybe having a lunch. And that lunch tends to be like a salad because I want to eat healthier. So they just eat a salad
Right.
that's 200 calories. They've already expended 900 to 1,000 calories. They're putting 200 in. We're 800 calories behind just to have a balanced equation of energy expenditure and input.
Mhm.
And now they go home and they get to dinner and they're so exhausted they barely eat a plate.
Mhm.
And it's like, we need to microdose your movement and microdose your nutrition
Yeah.
throughout the day. Healthy snacks in the car, bag of almonds in the glove box, like
Yeah.
emergency snack bags. That's not sugary foods will get you very far. But I think the reason I didn't bring that up is because that's one area that I really struggle in, is because I'll just get work and I'll get locked in, and then it's 8 hours later and I'm like, crap, I forgot to eat again. It's
Yeah.
not that I didn't want to eat, I just forgot because I got so locked into the task. And I feel that effect
Mhm.
later in the day. I feel it the next day. I go to work out. Why is this weight so heavy today? Why do I feel so fatigued? Why do I feel like I need that extra coffee? Like, why do I need these things? Well, you didn't get enough calories in. And it's
Mhm.
always simple. Like, go get those
Yeah.
calories in.
Right.
And I will say, if you are in a deficit, this is the one time, get whatever calorie in that you can.
Right.
Like, if it's chicken wings, go for it. Like, just get in the calories, and then we can start getting back to the basic food groups.
Right. Well, it's, if you're fatigued, you might be hangry. And
Yeah.
what's the solution to hangry? Eat a Snickers, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I guess that's the solution.